then I will do the demo. We'll do the demo. We'll move 10.19 up so that he can go. He can. Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:03. Roll call. Vicky?
Yes.
Nick?
Here.
Christie's here. Alan?
Here.
John Zimmer is absent. Derek Hoban is absent. Terry?
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any additions to the agenda or an approval of the agenda? Do I have a motion for that or any additions? I will make one change to the agenda, and that is to move 10.19, which is the demonstration for the purchase of 3 thermal cameras for Waubun Wider School District, the amount of $17,996.22, and we'll move that demonstration up to the beginning, right after this. So that would be a proposal. Okay. Do I have
That's
a
fine.
motion?
That's fine. I'll motion.
Okay, motion by Nick. Second? Second. Vicky, second by Vicky. Okay, Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John Zimmer's absent. Terry Dorman?
Yes.
Derek Hoban is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Yep, motion passes. Okay, so let's do the demonstration.
We'll need to go to the front entry for the demonstration, so
Okay,
we'll be in.
well, I'll take mine. Okay, everybody. Oh. Now, can these,
St. Paul Sartell, and I'm with a technology company called Tech Check. And we do a lot of technology things for all over the state of Minnesota, and we've done a lot of technology things for Waubun District. We're looking at something today called a thermal temperature scanner. And the biggest advantage of this is that we don't need necessarily adults or students standing at the door touching kids taking temperatures. It will do it all automatically. Email, nursing, principals, whomever, if a student comes in with a temperature, right? Is the goal number one is making sure both staff and students are healthy. So there are 2 different types of solutions. This is one type of solution. It's just a little kiosk, and I don't have a stand with me today. Got hijacked from me. But the idea of this is you stick your face in front of it, and it'll tell me if I'm hot or cold. And I don't have to stop. You just walk by it, and it just does its thing. We typically see these in elementary schools and high schools near a lunch line. So before kids are ever going near food, they can do one last scan. If they come in with the temperature, it will be emailed to whomever, or some schools are putting a parent or someone near this at the lunch line so they can see them live. And this is about $2,450. It comes with a 3-year warranty with a 3-year $0 accidental damage policy. So on this 25-pound stand this is on, if it falls, they just replace it at no cost. But this is a kiosk, and it's more for single file, 1 person at a time. The second solution we're going to show, and we're going to do this as a group, is a solution that's a bullet-sized camera that you mount on the wall. and up to 30 people at a time, it will scan the temperatures at one time. So the idea is when kids are getting off buses into school, they can all walk in at one time and it'll take the temperatures. And right here on the wall, I have a demonstration is that this is the angle, right here that we're looking at. So in this vein right here, you can put one camera on the wall right there, it'll capture all 4 doors. It will scan kids up to 22 feet away. Okay? And so right here, here's the digital image, and here is the thermal image. So if I just stand right here, what does it say my temperature is?
97 degree.
How about that?
97. Okay.
And if I back up, it's right about here is the edge where it can go. That's what, 22 feet? It's still getting me. I back up to the door. It's really close. And you lose a little bit of that accuracy. But I walk in the door. If I walk in the door, and you can see on the right-hand side, it takes a digital image of the person that is walking in with his temperature. So if I actually heat up my forehead to give myself a little bit of a fever, you will get an alert. And this alert is sent to those people in the office via email. And that email kind of looks like this. It says where what camera was, it was in this building, this door, that door, the temperature of the student, and then it shows a thermal image of the student, of what the temperature was when they walked in the door, and a digital so we can help identify them. Okay? We would set who would get that email message, so that'd be some administrative person, so unauthorized people from a data privacy perspective would not be getting that. But it is automating this, so we don't necessarily need to have paraprofessionals touching kids or coming up to them within 2 inches to scan with the little hand scanners. And if you talk to the nursing people, they'll say you have to get within a half an inch to get an accurate temperature. Well, but this just automates the process. So if we could all walk out into the hallway and then I should just walk straight out like I did, and then just watch this screen, and we can see all of us walking in at one point.
Move that over just a tiny
Yeah,
bit.
just move where we go. And do not social distance. You open up 2 doors at one time, 3 doors. Do it as kids would do it. As they would come along. I'm going to carry myself in the room.
I'm probably having a hot flash, so.
Okay, walking up to the bus. So, don't see the file. Pick these out of everyone. So you can see the responsiveness, it captured every single person that walked by. And of all the people, I had a temperature. How slick is that?
I have
Right?
a question though.
Yes, questions?
So when, say it's winter time,
Mhm.
it's 30 below or whatever, or not 30 below.
50.
Okay, but anyway, they're coming through and the doors, when
Doors
it's
are
opening and as they're coming through and the kids are in bundles and stuff like that, how does that
Great
pick
question.
it out?
Great question. Where is my stocking hat? Here. So we need to keep it a little ways from the door. And that's the exact point, because if it was closer, you're going to get that cold variant. So the further back we have it, the better. And in this, in here, we want to capture the kids before they go this way. That's what we want to do. If money wasn't an issue, you could put one right here and one over there, so it's going to get everyone, right? These cameras, by the way, are about $6,000 with a 3-year warranty. So they're not cheap. It's old military technology that they just adapted to look for right here for thermal temperature. If money was an issue, that's what you would do. But in almost every one of our schools, money is an issue. And we're trying to show our parents that we're doing best efforts to keep everyone safe. So in a high school, I'm gonna wear a baseball hat like most of our kids do. Because they get my temperature. Or they got it, doesn't it? It gets me no problem. Oops, let's go with this. It's the most recent picture. So it got me without a problem with a hat. If I wear a stocking hat, this is what you'll get at the elementary. You're gonna tell kids to take their hats off because it will register about 4/10 of a degree less simply because it's going through this material. But if you tell the kids to take their hats, I gotta go this way. Tell them to take their hats off, then I'm back to basically normal temperature.
So like what I'm saying though, is like the back of the doors, when the doors are always open, because you're gonna have kids coming in all the way, right? So if the doors are gonna be always open and that wind is coming through and that cool air is coming through, will that cool them down?
It will, it just by nature won't, right? So in a perfect world, putting one right here and right there, you're gonna still capture all the kids. But now we're looking at 2 at this building, potentially versus, now we were thinking originally when we talked, one back over at that bus store, is that right?
At the elementary side.
At the elementary side. So then could you need 3? I mean, it all depends what you want to do. I can tell you unequivocally they work.
So how far back in the with that, because their foyer is a lot smaller. And accuracy is what I'm actually after.
100%.
Just accuracy.
Yeah, if you're gonna invest the money, you want something that's gonna do the job. And we,
Kids who are wearing the thermal or the cap on the bus and they're really vulnerable and hot,
Yep.
is it going to show that they have a fever?
No. So here's what I can tell you about the body, and going by anecdotal evidence, which I'm told when we attend our classes, is that if we had some high school kids working out here outside running, and they were really sweaty and hot, and they came in here within 30 seconds, their body's back to normal. Internal body is back to a normal temperature, unless it's 140 degrees or whatever. You know, the problem with taking temperatures on your buses is it's artificially hot in the spring and fall and artificially cold in the wintertime. So you just don't get that temperature. Of the probably 70 districts that have already purchased this, 3 of them, Fergus, Cold Spring, and someone else, I forget, are not putting by the front door. They want to get their kids as they're milling down the hallway. Okay? Part of that is because they're worried about the parents giving the kids some Tylenol before in the morning, and the temperature is going to be artificially low. And by 10 o'clock in the morning, as they're moving between classes, that's worn off. You know, so it all depends what you want to do and how much you would like to invest in it. Long term, I think, again, talking to my nurses in all these districts, they believe that this could end up being like a flu shot. You're going to have to get a COVID shot every year in your arm. You know, do every family believe in shots? No. There's going to be that. And then down the road, in case it does get solved, is it a bad thing to scan kids for flu that just have a high temperature? They should be in the building regardless. At the end of the day, this is a thermal scanner, this temperatures, but it's also a security camera. So you can see right here, I can add this to our security, and that's going to get this side right here, and Travis can move that camera to a different location, you know, to just add it. But that's basically what it is.
Now that's saving us a pair at these doors, these kids getting in the building faster as well, correct?
Correct. Yep. So CDC and the Minnesota Department of Health is saying that if I was positive and I was on a bus or in a classroom, I'd have to be next to each other for at least 15 minutes before I'd have to report that who I was with, all these people, right? If I'm sending that email every morning, someone at the office would be able to get that, take a look at it and say, well, that's Tom, that's Mary, whatever it is. And call that teacher quietly, say, hey, why don't you go down to the office? And maybe teachers are going to have a scanner themselves in the classroom. Controversial. I mean, the teachers union is not too hip on getting this close to where everyone is doing this thing. That's the challenge. But lastly, then I think I'm done. If you have questions, the big questions are they available? 10 to 12 days, business days coming in from California. So they're in the States. We would have them before the start of school. Travis or someone would need to run an Ethernet cable from here back to his closet, network closet, but I don't need an electrician involved because it gets its power from a network switch. So we don't need to be paying electricians to do that. That's what it is.
And something that we talked about was the elimination of the health checking stations. The amount of staff that you have to have available to be able to set up those stations and bring kids in, and then those kids are expected to social distance, not touch each other while they're going through that temp check-in. And, when you're dealing with just, handfuls of kids for summer school, that's one thing, but when you're looking at, a couple hundred kids coming in at a time, and yes, we're gonna try to stay with bus times, and yes, we're gonna try to do as much prevention as we can, but it just,
The reality
the reality is that it saves staff time, it saves that contact time, and it eliminates some of the risk, for those staff people.
And what I like about this is, this is more discreet than
Yeah,
having a line.
absolutely,
When you
yes.
find someone's got a temperature, like I brought before, Bill, Johnny, you go that way, the rest of you kids can go this way.
And there is some said benefit, I would think, to being able to hand that report to that mom or father or dad and say, you know what, they came through at this time, at this door, this is what the temp was reading at. You could, there's no arguing.
Because there's gonna be pushback.
Yeah.
Either way, there's gonna be pushback, and this to me would be valid.
Do you have a secondary protocol?
What's
Do you have a
that?
secondary protocol to check it?
Correct.
We talked.
And I think that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to have a nurse or someone.
This is like a screening.
That's exactly right. And this is one of those things too. So the school is the center point of any town. So if you have an event, whatever it is, whoever that event is, will need to man someone probably with a little laptop, just watching this live, right? So if that goes off, sir, you need to stop. And if they're coming into our building, that's an expectation that can be set moving forward, right? Because if I'm hearing them coughing away, well, that germs chances are going to be there in the morning near something where our kids are at.
Cool.
And I think when you look into the future, he had a point, like with flu season and things like that. I mean, we talk about, the outbreaks with some of that kind of stuff, even the strep throat and things like that. I mean, this can be beneficial in many different ways, even besides COVID. And this could be something that we use even after COVID, to help eliminate and reduce that illness within the school too. I mean, it's earlier detection before they're complaining in the classroom to their teacher that they don't feel good.
Or if they're just kidding.
Yeah.
If they're just kidding and they don't really have a fever, or anything. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for your patience, everybody. All righty, are we ready? I'll move forward. So we'll get on to 5.0, board reports, board committee and special meeting reports, non-certified negotiations. How'd that go?
Actually went really well because we settled yesterday with the non-certified. So that was the quickest and shortest that I can remember.
Awesome.
And they came with a reasonable offer and we just countered a little bit. So it went well. Yep.
So
Language went good too?
Yeah, there really wasn't any language to deal with. It was all financial.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they'll bring it to their group next week to vote on, and hopefully it'll be at our September meeting.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, how about at will?
Those went really well too. I was on both committees. So, and at will, we looked at area districts, how we were stacking up, and we're starting to slip behind everybody with administration and at-will employees. So, and I know we held the line here a few years ago because, well, we just didn't have the budget for it. But we're trying to catch up, and everybody's really good to work with and does a great job. So that was easy to do too. So.
Did anybody have any questions on the at-will? Oops. Did anybody have any questions on the at-will? I believe the at-wills will be going through at the end, so I think there's like, what, 8 of them? Okay. Alrighty, thank you, Al. Good job. Okay, so no student reps, principals, Lori?
I am asking permission to hire Amy Coyer as our Title I teacher and Megan Swedberg as a paraprofessional in Ogama. On the 11th and 12th of August, teachers were given an overview session of Synergy, which is our new, it was Skyward before, we're transitioning now to Synergy. We're going to work on our back to school staff development days, and still in process of how that's going to look, but some of the events are going to include a district welcome, some ALICE training, mandated yearly training, and building meetings. Under school management and function, we are currently holding summer school session in Ogama for students going into 1st through 7th grade. Cecilia Berniger has been our summer school coordinator. She's done a wonderful job organizing and communicating with families and staff. Summer school session, it's held from 8 to 12:30. Tomorrow is our last day, and I do have to say that things have been going well. Students are wearing their masks. They are sitting in their assigned seats on the buses. Of course, we're going to have some reminders here and there, but overall, they're doing a wonderful job. We had about 35 students registered to begin with. It's a little bit lower than what we have had in the past, but we've been maintaining right around that 30 mark each day. So recognitions, I'd like to thank our summer school teachers, the secretaries, tech staff, cooks, custodians for all of their hard work for the summer school session. And also for this week, we had that survey go out. We're trying to get a lot of information. So I'd just like to thank Deja, Brittany, Charlene, Lainey, Eric, Christy, and Angie. They've done an amazing job working to call and reach out to all of the families that didn't respond on the survey. So we've had a lot of that going on the last few days, and we're getting enough data together that we're able to move forward now with some of the transportation, the class sizes, food service, technology. And we just encourage, if there are families that we haven't been able to reach out to, that if they have a chance to give us a call, otherwise we will keep on trying. So, do you have any questions?
Lori, what kind of success did you have with that last survey?
We had like about 150, somewhere around there, student or families respond. So a little bit more than the first one. I think we had 137 maybe the first time. So.
Okay, thank you, Lori. Eric?
For staffing, Brittany Forensic has agreed to be our Waubun School Secretary. Cora Reshaw has agreed to be our 4th grade paraprofessional with bus duty, and then I neglected to put our new math teacher, and this is a huge thing for us. I think we got a resignation late in the summer, and it's always hard to find a math teacher, and I think we got a great one here. But Tammy remembered for me, so Charity Ridlin has agreed to be our high school math teacher. Under school management and function, we did have graduation. I'd like to thank everybody who participated, especially thank you to our custodial crew. I often ask a lot of them, and they came through again. Deja Anderson, Lainey Thomas, Michelle Pariso, David Pettit, Tracy Dady, Mr. Gary, Mrs. Weber, Mrs. Haverkamp, Mrs. Johnson for all the help in pulling it off. I think the kids got a big kick out of it. I know that the families did. We will have our new teacher orientation on August 26th. Lori and I are working to get that off the ground. They've been assigned a mentor, so thank you to Sarah and Dave Peterson, Sarah Balk and Dave Peterson. We'll do a tour of the community. It's going to look a little different. We got to follow the same guidelines as far as 50% on a bus, and they will meet with district staff to go over everything. Under recognitions, I'd like to thank our custodial staff once again. If you've noticed, there's a lot of things that have been added to them, and they continue to keep the building clean and shiny. Our tech staff has done a lot of tremendous work over the summer, and our office staffs. And I do want to echo what Lori said. That survey was a huge monster, and it was put first by our office staffs, and a lot of people have been putting a lot of work into it. So I do want to say that. And then one thing, Lori said it really nicely, that if you haven't answered yet, you might get a phone call. But we also have people that are willing to go out and knock on doors and such. So that's coming as well. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, we have the assessment data coach coordinator report in there. Is any questions on that? Any reviews? Okay, we'll move on. Michelle, business manager.
Okay, I apologize. I did not have time to get a written report submitted in with the core documents between preparing for non-certified negotiations and the audit and everything else I had going on. But just briefly, want to go over a couple things. The first thing I wanted to let you know is that Joel Sutter did send us an email from Ellers, and he is actually retiring now after 24 years with them. He's moving on to the next phase in his life. And so he sent a very nice email to us and just wanted to express how appreciative he was for the opportunity to work with all of us in the district and the school board members. And he talks about one of the very first public meetings that he had in his career was actually here for our bond referendum. And so he says fond memories, but I'm kidding. He's done great work for us, and I've learned a lot from him over the years, and so he will truly be missed. But Matt Hammer and Greg Crow, who we've been working with, will be taking his spot and taking over his portfolios, and so we'll be very well taken care of with those guys also. But we'll definitely miss Joel, so we wish him all the best. I did have a meeting with Ellers and their investment team, looking over the bond investments, where we were at, are we tracking on target, things like that. We're about 6 months in at this point, and so what they do is they really manage our bond proceeds and try to invest them and get them into municipal funds and things like that. And so it was kind of a recap today of kind of where we're sitting at this point. And so if you look at the summary page with kind of the pie chart and graphs, the thing that I pulled out of here that I thought was pretty interesting is that our average book yield right now is at 1.99, which is very, very good. The bonds have stayed pretty high, and they did some great investment strategies on our behalf. And so at this point, we are tracking that if this continues and our draws stay on schedule, that we should triple what they projected that we would earn off of interest earnings, because they've been able to do some things very creatively with some municipal bond investments and things like that. So that's good news. There could potentially at the end of the day be some extra cash in there to kind of move around a little bit within that project, but we won't know that obviously until we get closer. But overall, we are not losing money in that investment. We're gaining at a higher rate than what they had originally projected. So that's good. And then the second page on with this just kind of shows where the investments are at and where that market value is at, and what credit ratings they have our money broken up into. And so you can see it goes from AAA to AA plus to regular AA. So kind of a good variation. My next task with this would be to get an updated draw schedule from ICS to make sure that they can plan the next round of investment around our draw schedule that we're going to need to pull from. And that basically is just meaning so we don't get funds locked into mutual funds or municipal funds, so then we can't get at it when we need it. So I'll be working with those guys on that coming up. And then they did just, of course, talk about if we're ever interested in looking at general fund investments. they would offer the same service to us, which right now their interest rates are trending a lot better than what we're holding within our local banks for money markets and things like that. So, we can down the road here talk about, where we want to go with that. And if we want to look at investing, some of the dollars that we have, I wouldn't recommend all of it, but some of our dollars, that we have in fund balance, maybe into a pot like that versus the in-house money market, because as we all know, that interest can add up very, very quickly. It's not, that can very easily pay for a position, supplies, transportation, things like that. So, and then, so been busy wrapping up the audit. We're about done with that. I've got some stuff that I'll be bringing to you guys next month as far as the governor put out an executive order to be able to look at transferring restricted fund balances into your unreserved undesignated funding. And that's a one-time executive order for this year and next year, pandemic related only. And so what that allows us to do is take some of those restricted dollars out of those fundings where there's statutorial guidance on how you can spend that, move them into your unreserved undesignated dollars, and that gives us a ton more flexibility with what we're able to do. So strategically, that's very good for us. That's a smart plan. We need to be looking at that. So there's been some things that I've been working on with that. And then, like I said, finishing up audit entries, that will be one of them. And then along with that, we'll look at set asides and assigned fund balances within our budget. And then the last thing that I handed out is it's this full page of numbers. And so basically what that is I set it up a little bit different this year, and it's just kind of showing you, so starting from the left-hand side, it's where we started, where we ended fiscal year 19 at as far as fund balance wise. And fund balance and our budget are two different things. And so I feel like for some of our newer board members, this is maybe helpful to see it laid out this way when we talk about fund balance versus budget, and when we're deficit spending, but we're deficit spending to access fund balance. And so hopefully this makes some sense. But anyways, so fund balance fiscal year 19 down the left-hand side, and then it goes through, your general fund, your unreserved undesignated is the first line. And essentially it walks through, the gray boxes are the revenue budget that we had set. And then the next box is the actuals in revenue that we brought in. And then, and I do have that broken out by the reserve or the restricted fund balances. And then we have the budgeted expenditures and then where the actual expenditures came in. You can see that our actual expenditures are much, much less than what we budgeted. So that's due to several different factors. The large majority of it being, obviously we had a lot of activities that got suspended the beginning of March or mid-March with COVID. And so there were a lot of things, a lot of contracts, a lot of, when you look at sports and things like that, there were some pretty huge savings there, expenses we didn't incur because we weren't doing those activities. And so I believe that there was, we had budgeted for some staff time that was never really put in because we had staff go on leave and some different things. And so just a lot of very different quirky situations this year, it seemed like, within the budget. And so we did end the year very positively. We'll be increasing fund balance again. Chris will go in more depth about that stuff when he does present the audit report, but I thought it was a good chance to get some numbers out to you guys and just kind of show you where we're sitting as we're coming into this next year. And I'll be working on now a revised budget for fiscal year 21. We seem to have our staffing mostly in order, I think. We went over that today, and so it'll be pulling in those pieces that we need to get figured out yet. We will be super busy with grant writing, grant applications. A lot of those are coming due now, the end of August, beginning of September. And so that should be a priority for us, working on that stuff and getting those out there. And then also looking at getting the gear and the ESSER and, some of those federal dollars that we're getting for the COVID relief stuff, getting those budgeted and submitted and inputted to the state. So anybody have any specific questions?
No, thank you. You've been really super busy.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, but good busy, so.
That's good. Anybody got any questions for Michelle? Thank you, Michelle. Mrs. Weber, Superintendent's report.
You're going to see tonight oops, man, where did I am? They're going to see a change to the Title IX policy. There was a change that came out in May, and we need to implement those changes due August 14th. There was some pushback and hoping that those changes would be delayed with everything going on with COVID. And a lot of the Title IX requirements really are based around some of the things that are happening at a college level. And so as you go through the policy changes and take a look at them, it's a lot of legal, the process and everything is very legal. And even when you look at some of the guidance we got in our training, they talked about the process and everything else that is based on staffing that's probably more appropriate at a collegiate level than what most small schools have. However, our HR professional and our administrators and myself went through a training, so we've met that requirement. And then passing the policy tonight does go through and define our grievance process, our investigative process, and so on. And so then posting that. What the Office of Civil Rights said is that they are not going to change the deadline for the August 14th, but they are going to be lenient on how we put this into practice. So they're going to give schools a lot of time on completing the trainings, posting the policies, giving them time because they realize that we don't have staff to do all the training. We don't have staff here in the summers. So they're going to give us some time to implement that new standard and new policy. So that will be coming up in the board meeting tonight. And then we will there's a bunch of posting requirements and training for our staff as they come back to school. Construction update. We started meeting once a week on Wednesdays with the construction supervisors and the contract managers. And so just to do updates on what's going on with the construction project and making sure that that's on track. The rain slowed us down a little bit, but otherwise that project is on track. Otherwise we're on track with that. And the project is on target. And then I just wanted to point out the NAFIS infrastructure legislation has been trying to go through for a long time, and the Senate did pass it. And two of the authors on that are from Minnesota. So Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar were authors on that and were behind that bill. So I think that says a lot about our Minnesota leaders at the legislature fighting for our impact aid schools. So.
Okay, that's some good news.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Lisa? Okay. Our athletic director, Paul Clark, are you on, Paul?
I am.
Great. Do you want to go ahead and give your?
What was that? I missed what you said.
Did you want to give your report or just a brief overlay of what's happening with the Minnesota State High School League?
Nothing really happening, is it? Is there any changes?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
That's right. For the first time in like 45 years, I won't be coaching football or involved with football this fall. Other than that, yeah, there's new information coming out on Thursday, tomorrow. There's another Zoom with the State High School League. And as of right now, there's no other stipulations than what they had for the summer for our practices this fall, which would be, I don't know if you read through all the information I sent, but there's 12 practices for football and volleyball, which is in September, which is backwards in my mind. And then regular spring sports get 12 in October, which should have been the other way around, in my opinion, but I don't get to make those decisions. So, and yeah, there's no other stipulations. We were kind of waiting football wise. We were waiting to see any more with the COVID, what we can and can't do. But there has been nothing. I think they're just leaving it as same rules as the summer, and the spring sports with the track and field. I don't think there's gonna be too much of an issue there. Golf, there's not too much of an issue. Baseball might have a few quirks here and there where you got to be careful, but hopefully the weather cooperates and we can have a little spring sports practice in October. But other than that, no, I don't have anything other than what's on the report.
All righty.
Activities committee meeting tomorrow too, I guess. Make some decisions there, but
Okay. Well, I hope you guys get to practice and we get the sports back like we needed.
yeah.
So-
Well, I just hope the kids take it serious when they get to come to practice. It's
Right.
hard enough, we had a state championship run. We had a hard time getting players to practice when they have nothing on the line coming up. It might be a little more difficult, but hopefully they'll come through.
Well, I think kids are valuing their time here more than they expected to. So hopefully they do. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Yep. Any other questions?
Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. Thank you. Maintenance Director, Dan Gunther, I don't think he's on. So does anybody, is he here? Dan? Dan, are you here? You have nothing to add to your report? Okay. You don't want to highlight anything on your report? Yes, that floor looks fantastic. It turned out really great. We'll have to get some pictures out on the website, hopefully sometime soon. Yeah, we appreciate all that hard work. Okay, is there any other questions for Dan? Travis, how about you? All righty. Any other questions for Travis? Yeah?
Chris, if we go back to Dan's, are we gonna do something to look at a plan, or is there something in place? Or is the principal and soup looking at that, or?
Okay, we're going back to which plan?
At the bottom in the comments, where Dan references signs will be posted and not allow street shoes on the gym floor. If a gym class has to be there, a policy has to be made that students who have to wear gym shoes to participate in gym class, looking for support from principal, soup, and school board to implement the plan.
Good catch. Lisa?
I think we've worked with the gym teachers, and Eric's worked with the gym teachers on making sure that they take care of the floor even before the new floor got put in. So we'll continue those efforts. Part of the plan of putting that hallway through the back locker rooms, that's part of that plan. So we've got a year before that hallway is going to get put in. So I think just reinforcing that with the teachers and making sure that we enforce that with teachers. We've talked about limiting time in the gym before school. And access. So just making sure that that's enforced and reinforcing that with staff. So I think we'll continue to do that. And just make sure that that's consistent. Eric, did you want to add to that?
Well, I think, unfortunately with the way we're starting school, one of the biggest things is we're not going to be utilizing the gym much anyway because of the hybrid learning. So that actually plays in our favor in this case, but Mrs. Weber is entirely correct in that we just have to make sure that that gym stays closed and there's not a lot of access to it. And when we are accessing it for our classrooms and such as for FIED, that they wear the right gym shoes. So totally concur with that.
Alrighty, thank you. Was there any more questions on Dan's or Travis's?
No, I've got like a half a dozen comments, though. The playground equipment looks awesome.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet out there. I have to go drive by tonight. Do drive by, right? Thanks. All right, non-certified, we're not here, and neither is certified, so we go to approval of the consent agenda. Is there anything you'd like to remove or add, or moving forward? Do I have
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, Alan.
Second.
Second by Nick. Okay. Roll call vote. Christie, yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. All righty. So then we'll go down to recognitions. And thank you to our summer school teachers, secretaries, cooks, and custodians for all of their hard work and dedication. Yeah, thank you to everyone for your cooperation getting us ready for, the school year. It's going to be very, very different, to say the least. It's different for all of us, and decisions that are being made. So we appreciate all the effort that administration, teachers, students, parents, community, everybody has put together to make our school year happen. And board members as well. All righty, going into, I don't have any public comment. Do we have any public comment at all? I don't see any. All righty, we'll jump right into our new business. 10.1, approve lane change request for Abby Erickson. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Alan.
Motion by Alan, second.
Second. Nick.
Second by Nick. Roll call vote. Christie's yes. Alan?
Yes.
Jonathan is absent. Terry Dorman?
Yes.
Derek Hoban is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, 10.2 has been removed.
We'll see that come back in September, probably. So,
Okay. 10.3, approval of $24,300 proposal to re-roof section above district office. Can we talk about that just a second?
yeah, that project, the district roof is leaking, unfortunately, particularly into Michelle's office. Some of you have been there to witness that, but it seems to be coming along the seams and literally at some time raining in her office. So we've requested permission to switch the roofing projects to meet current building needs. We had $65,000 already allocated for roof repairs at the Ogama site in that 1995 section of the roof. And so Herzog's has said that they can do some minor repairs to that section of the roof and it'll last another 3 to 4 years. So if we kind of restructure the LTFM plan and move some roof projects around, we could do the district office this year and still keep that under budget. So it would be the request to approve the project to do the district office roof project this year.
I'd motion. Nick.
Motion by Nick, second.
I second it. Vic.
All righty. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes.
You're muted.
Okay. Roll call vote. I better go back. Motion by Nick, second by Vicky, and roll call vote. Christie is a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Eric is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, these are gonna go very fast, the next 5 or 6. It looks like we're gonna be going. These are the contract approvals that we were given before. So approval, if you have anything to add, just let me know. Or questions. Approval of principal's contract for Lori Johnson. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Allen.
Motion by Alan, second by,
Nick?
okay, roll vote. Christie's yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval of principal's contract for Eric Martinez. Do I have a motion?
Nick?
Motion by Nick, second.
Vicky.
Second by Vicky. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John Zinn was absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval employment agreement for Danny Gunther. Do I have a motion?
Carried.
Motion by Terry, second.
Second by Allen.
Second by Al. Roll call vote. Christie, yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
This motion passes. Approval employment agreement for Norm Hills. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Nick,
Second, Terry.
second by Terry. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
This motion passes. Approval of employment agreement for Deborah Lewis. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Vicky, second by
Terry.
Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Ellen?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval employment agreement for Kelly Kent. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Allen.
Motion by Al, second by Nick. Am I right?
Sure.
Okay. Christie is a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Approve employment agreement for Michelle Heisler. Do I have a motion?
Terry, yes.
Motion by Terry, second.
Vicky.
Second by Vicky. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John? Oh, absent. Bleh. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Hey, Vicky.
Yes.
This motion passes. Approve employment agreement for Travis Gary. Motion.
Nick.
Motion by Nick,
Second by Allen.
second by Al. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
This motion passes. Approval employment agreement for Lisa Weber.
Motion by Allen.
Motion by Al, second.
Second.
Second by Nick. Roll call vote. Christie, yes. Ellen?
Yes.
John? Absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. Pass resolution approving grant of water utility easement for Dollar General Store. I thought we did that. Didn't we do that?
No,
No, we actually gave, we talked about giving permission to move ahead, but never actually passed the actual easement and resolution. So we just kind of gave general permission for them to move ahead until we had our attorney look at the easement and approve the language. And one of the things, as our attorney reviewed the easement, he did change some language of the easement and wanted us to consider that 20-foot easement on the edge of the baseball field there, to make sure that we would never want to build any buildings there, because it will be tied up for all future. So just to make sure that it wouldn't be something we'd ever want to build on. We could do streets, we could do sidewalks, but part of that agreement is that we wouldn't build any buildings there. Now, I can't imagine that we would in that property, but that would be the only thing to think about. So it just, his exact wording was, the document prohibits the district from constructing anything other than fences, sidewalks, roadways, pavement, and curbs in the easement area. This will tie up the future uses in that area in perpetuity, which I assume won't be a problem given the district's future plans.
It's 20 feet. I don't think we have any future plans. Didn't we just build the baseball field? Right?
I'm
So if you
assuming
take a-
if we did like a press box, you wouldn't be able to do something like that, and that wouldn't affect if we made the dugouts bigger or put something else on the dugouts. I mean, that's all inside that easement, correct?
So if you take a look at that, it's behind that, there's two exhibits there. So if you take a look at that, Exhibit B. On the survey. That shows you where the water main line is. So right underneath where it says Exhibit B, it shows you that picture about where that utility easement would be. It's just that kind of diagonal. And where the existing fence is. So at the widest part, there's about 20 feet. It's 20 feet in length.
And we got to it. Okay, I see it.
Okay.
This one? Okay. Any further discussion? Anybody have any thoughts?
If none, on motion.
Are you ready? Okay. Do I have a motion granting the water easement for Dollar General Store?
Yep, I did.
Nick? Oh, okay. Didn't hear you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Second by Terry. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John Zim is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky? Yes. Okay.
And
Motion
on this one,
passes.
Christie, I think we need to do the resolution. It's right here. Let me just take mine.
No. Still have to read this. Okay. Board Member Nick MacArthur introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Resolution approving grant of water utility easement for Dollar General Store. Whereas the developer of a Dollar General Store in Waubun requested that the district grant a utility easement for the purpose of constructing and maintaining water utility lines that will serve a planned Dollar General store. Whereas the district has reviewed the proposed easement area, has depicted and described in Exhibits A and B to the easement, and determined the location of the utility easement will not interfere with the district's current and future uses of its property. Now therefore be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District Number 435, Waubun, White Earth as follows. Number one, the board approves the proposed perpetual water utility easement to DGOG Waubun, Minnesota 030429 LLC for the purpose of facilitating the construction of a Dollar General store to serve the community. Number two, the utility easement will not interfere with the district's current and future uses of its property. Upon a vote being taken, this resolution was declared duly passed and adopted. Thank you. Okay. We'll move on to 10.14, approval of purchase of Chromebooks. I think we talked about this last
We did.
month.
Yep, this just brings us into that one-to-one, including teachers and paraprofessionals. So it would be that purchase of 100 more Chromebooks for $304 a piece, including the license, for a total of $30,400.
Okay. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion by Alan.
Motion by Ellen, second.
Second.
Vicky. Second by Vicky. I think I caught you right. Christie's a yes. Ellen?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky? Yes. Okay, motion passes. 10.15, approval policy 808, COVID-19 face covering policy to be compliant with Executive Order 20-81. So do you want to talk about this just a little?
Yeah, I'll just briefly. In the governor's executive order 20-81, he made it requirement in schools to wear face masks or face coverings. And so Minnesota School Board Association made the recommendation that school boards pass this COVID-19 face covering policy because in the executive order, he refers to the face covering as a policy in schools. And in the safe learning plan, they refer to it as a face covering policy. And so as their legal counsel looked at it, they are advising schools to have a face covering policy because that's how it's referred to in the executive order. That's how they refer to it in the safe learning plan. And so they're saying that while we could just say, yep, it says that in the executive order, they're saying for schools to have an enforce the executive order, they should have a policy to be consistent with their own practices. So MSBA came up with, wrote this policy out of their legal department, and they're encouraging school boards across the state to pass this and have this in place in their own district.
Further discussion? Do I have a motion to adopt that?
Nick?
Motion by Nick, second. By Vicky. Second by Vicky. Christie's a yes. Roll call vote. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky? Okay, motion passes. 10.16, approve the notice of the general election. Looks like we had everybody refile, right?
I'm so excited that all three candidates have refiled. So Terry Dorman, Ellen Hugo, and John Zima have refiled for election.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ellen. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, John, when you see this. Motion?
Nick?
Motion by Nick, second. Second by Vicky. Christie's a yes. Ellen?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky? Yes. Okay, motion passes. Okay, we're going to, 10.17 is approve new hire salary agreement change for Jordan Spaeth.
As Jordan was negotiating his contract with Eric, he was going to visit with me to see if some of his master's degree courses applied to his contract. And by the time we got together, he had already had some more, and they did apply. They were germane to his assignment. And so that moved him up the salary schedule. So this is his adapted salary agreement.
You're muted.
Motion by Nick, second
Second by Alan.
by Alan. Okay, motion, roll call. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Eric is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. 10.18, approve the revised policy 522 designating the human resources professional, the Title IV coordinator.
Title IX.
What now did I? See, I lost something.
This is a long policy, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'll just highlight some of the bigger changes. One of the big things is the change of who the coordinator is, and you have to really advertise that. So it changed the human resource professional from the superintendent. Another big one is actual knowledge. Anybody in the district has any actual knowledge of any sexual harassment, that it needs to be reported, and the district is held accountable. So any actual knowledge means that it needs to be reported to the coordinator right away. And that means the district knows. If anybody in the district knows, the district knows and is accountable. The other thing that is different is that there needs to be 4 roles in the district assigned and trained. There's a coordinator, an investigator, a decision maker, and an appellate decision maker. And they all need to be leadership roles. And so these are some of the areas that start to get difficult for smaller schools. And so there may be even more. So I think we will be looking at training our dean of students also. And so there may be times that we may be having multiple roles in grievances and investigations. So we will need to be training more personnel. As these roles are unfolding, the superintendent may need to step out and delegate functions for other people in other roles and assign more duties. There's a grievance process that is very thorough and gives the equitable treatment to all parties involved. And a lot of that is because of what happened at the University of Minnesota case, if you remember a couple of years ago, where they didn't feel like everybody was given fair treatment, and some of the people involved, maybe even the accused, weren't treated fairly. And so everybody gets a real fair case, is treated very fairly through the process, and it's a very long, thorough process. Another case, I'm just going to go through just a couple of things, is some of the wording in here is evidence, burden of proof, timelines, notice, right of an advisor. So a lot of it is legal jargon and a legal process. And so the training is quite thorough, and we've gone through it once. I see us going through it again. It's very, very detailed. The Title IX coordinator oversees the process, and there's a lot of paperwork and being responded to the complainant. There is a way to do an informal resolution, and there is a way to dismiss the complaint, but everything's very thorough, very process-oriented. It is going to be an improved process by far. So, and then the final decision of an appellate decision maker is final. So, and then the training needs to be posted, and all the information needs to be posted, and everybody needs to be notified, parents, the public, students, staff, unions, So there's a lot of rules and a lot of regulations related to this. So the training was the very beginning of the process with this policy. So we have some work left to do. Any questions about the Title IX process?
No. Yes, Title IX, I think I said something else. So approve the revised policy 522 designated the human resources professional as a Title IX coordinator. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Alan.
Motion by Al, second.
Nick?
Second by Nick. Okay, roll call vote. Christie said yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent. Terry?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. So 10.19, approve the purchase of 3 thermal cameras from the Waubun Regular School District for the amount of $17,996.22. We viewed these prior to our board reports. So do you have any questions or any discussion or anything like that to go along with the approval or disapproval or anything?
Just during the demonstration, the guy made a point, is everyone in agreement that we're going to be covered there, given the proximity of the door? I mean, I know he said we could be covered and probably be more accurate if we move one back and add one. I mean,
Yeah, that was my main concern. It's just that's my experience with geothermal. I've been researching a lot with geothermal in the last, 60 days or so. And, that is the one thing that unless you have an air curtain of some sort or a new flare, whatever, that does give you some false reads. So, where it's placed, I think it could be, I wouldn't mind it seeing it inside rather than at the door, because you're catching people coming and going. You can face it back this way rather than face it that way, but you're still catching everybody to, coming in and out. I guess placement is something that everybody can kind of discuss later.
what he mentioned, if we do that, we'd probably look at adding another one.
For sure. If they work out, you never know. They would be probably a good investment. Good security too. I like to see one down here, actually, at the attendance doors too. When and if we ever get back to having sports and things like that here.
That's something we could just add on as we go too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but could we not move that camera just back to that back wall and still catch kids coming in and have it a little bit farther back from that draft?
Yeah, the possibilities there. I think one of the things that I was discussing over here with Michelle, when we did the demo, we did it last week. We actually, and he made us do this, but I get your concern. But when we looked at, we took it with our own temperature gauge as well, and I think it wasn't off by much. And like Michelle's saying, one of the things we could do from our side is make sure that those doors are always closed to cause that, what you're talking about. And then we'd be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, like Alan said, Mr. Howell said, we can mess around and see where the best way to put it is when they do install. But it's a very great product in my eyes. I think he sold me when we caught like 6 of us coming in and all of us were accurate. I thought that was, to me, when you're looking at kids coming in, they're going to come in. Obviously, they're going to come in 6 feet apart, walking in and all that, but we're going to be able to catch them all. So.
No, I agree. I mean, everything, the product's great. I just want to make sure that, we're getting the most accurate readings and we're able to cover as accurately as we can. We're making the investment up front. We need to make sure that we're doing it the right way.
Right. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is we have the double doors with the heat in between. We've got the heated entries.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, that's another thing so I think it's worth trying it and then seeing if we need to adjust, I think we're good to go for now. We've
Okay.
got the double doors, we've got the heated entries in between. So I think we're okay for now.
Because
But I
it
think
did
it's a
seem as though it would be
legitimate
very
question.
difficult to
Yeah.
move if we have to. It
Right.
just comes to the network connection. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
They are mobile. And I guess just to reiterate, what I was getting at is that a majority of our school year is spent in, 20 degrees and below. So, get that wind coming in, just to make sure that we're accurate and that we're spending $6,000 or 18 grand on something that is going to be accurate. So with that,
I have a question before we move on. So the portable ones or the smaller ones, I wonder, I should have asked over there, but what do they need? Are they portable for would that be an option for school buses? You're muted, Eric.
Travis, do you remember what he said we would need for the power for it? There was something about the power. I can't recall what he said though. Thank you, Travis. That's right. That's the one problem with it, Vicky, is
Shoot, that would have been perfect.
is there anything out there that could be used in a bus? Not saying it's geothermal, but, is there any product out there that you guys have looked at or anything like that that would be helpful for?
Sean Kaloji gave us a lead that White Earth Nursing was using handheld thermal ones, and then Eric followed up with Lindsay today on a lead on some of those and maybe tracking down some of those. And I think once again, any temperature checks we're using on the bus, we're going to have to be very creative on how we get an accurate read, especially if we have temperature swings outside. But right now that's a requirement. So we're going to have to find out how we can most accurately do that temperature check. And so we will continue to find the most accurate read we can. But I think that's probably our best bet right now, is to kind of look at that and see how we can do that. Once again, it's getting up close. You don't have to touch them, but it is getting up to doing a thermal read up close.
She was able to deliver them today, so we have 11 of them, one per bus. Thank you to White Earth Home Health and Lindsay McCarthy.
Alrighty. John, do I see you here? Johnny Zimmer? Is it not here? Okay. You look like.
Computer's on.
Oh. I see. Okay. Fooled me.
Picked up
Oh,
pretty
I
quick.
thought he may have, logged in from home by some miracle, Alrighty, so we're gonna, any more discussion on this geothermal cameras?
No, I would motion.
Okay. Motion by Nick.
I'll second it.
Second by Vicky. Okay, roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan?
Yes.
John is absent, right? Gary Jorgensen?
Yes.
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. So succeeding meetings. Non-certified negotiations look like, well, that was today.
Yesterday, and then today we met with the parent committee meeting, and then tomorrow morning is joint committee meeting, joint activities committee meeting.
Tomorrow morning, is that 7?
Tomorrow morning at 7.
Yeah.
Not 7:47, yeah.
All righty. Okay, do I have any other future considerations for the board?
Just so you're aware, Friday morning, we're meeting with the bus drivers at 7:30 to start looking at transportation, looking at routes and trying to split those up. So Eric and Lori and myself and trying to look at how would that look and so.
Yep. Okay. Alrighty, motion to adjourn.
Motion by Alan.
Motion by Al, second.
Terry.
Terry. Roll call vote, Christie, yes. Alan?
Yes.
John Zimmer's
And
absent.
trying to look
Terry?
at how would that look and
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Okay. Vicky? Alrighty, motion to adjourn passes. We are adjourned at 7:22.
Motion by Alan.
Motion by Al. Thank you, everybody.
Terry.
Terry? Roll call vote, Christie, yes. Alan?
Yes.
John Zimmer's
and
absent.
trying to look
Terry?
at how would that look and
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Okay. Vicky? Alrighty, motion to adjourn passes. We are adjourned at 7:22.
Motion by Alan.
Motion by Al. Thank you, everybody.
Terry.
Terry? Roll call vote, Christie, yes. Alan?
Yes.
John Zimmer's
and
absent.
trying to look
Terry?
at how would that look and
Derek is absent. Nick?
Yes.
Okay. Vicky? Alrighty, motion to adjourn passes. We are adjourned at 7.